Hi, Bashar. It's Dami from Israel. I'm curious about the hybrid children, the teenage ones from 16 years old and above. Do they date between them like Earth kids? They have all their hormones and date each other. And the older ones, can the girls get pregnant? Do they start a family between them? Is it happening on the ships? Thank you.
They do not respond to the idea of hormones in the same way that Earth teenagers do. They do have them, but they're of a higher vibratory state. They can start families on the ships. More often than not, they do not. They will often wait until they arrive on Earth so that the starting of a family can blend in more with the way that Earth culture expresses itself in terms of its replication. They don't date in the same way that you do, but they simply recognize that connections exist, that agreements have been made on a higher level, and gravitate to each other based on their awareness of those connections. But it's a very different sensation, a very different experience than the way many Earth teenagers will gravitate to one another, even though the reason they gravitate may be similar. The hybrid children are far more aware of the reasons for the agreements and what it is that they need to get out of them, rather than being quite so unconscious about it.
Hello, good day.
Good day, good day.
I'm so thankful for the opportunity to be able to speak to you today. And I'd like to begin with some context and explore maybe two or three topics with you, time considering.
All right, please proceed.
Okay, so I have been blessed with the opportunity to be born into a culture and religion that where the physical and the spiritual interactions are the norm.
And what
So
religion is that?
that is the Catholic religion and the Haitian culture.
All right, and so?
And so my entire life, speaking to the spirits, being aware of the angels and the guides has been the norm.
Yes.
And when I was in my teen years, a movie was released that was extremely popular, which magnified the stereotypes of the culture. And then I found myself just really hiding the fact of that interaction. So I say all that to say my core beliefs has been deeply rooted in the connection of the spiritual and the physical world.
All
So
right.
the first topic I wanted to explore was sleep.
Yes.
I've had lucid dreaming my entire life. And yet whenever I had dreamt of something, my mom always had like an interpretation based on her core beliefs. Yet when I first lived by myself, I experienced what I later learned as the scientific term of sleep paralysis.
Yes.
Yet at that time, I thought that it was a spirit that would I thought it was a spirit that was trying to get me out of the home.
You
And
mean out of your body?
my mind would wake up, but my body could not move.
Yes, well, that's common when you're actually transitioning and shifting to a different frequency, because your body needs to be, in a sense, in a certain state so that you can focus on exactly where you're going without worrying about where your body is going to go, or that it's going to act out what it is you're doing in the spirit world.
Thank you. Interestingly enough, I was never scared, just always confused and just frustrated about not being able to wake up. And as I've gotten older, I realized as soon as I began a prayer of Our Father, I snapped out of it immediately.
All
So
right. That's your permission slip.
that was my permission slip. And so one of the things that I realized most recently in my lucid dreaming is the ability to change what is going on and to be acutely aware of the scene. So, for example, I woke up on a doctor's table and I saw that I knew it was me, but it was not the physical me that I know it to be.
Yes.
And when I looked to the right, I saw like IV bags that had white liquid in it. And I thought that was a little bit strange because I was just like, wow, I thought my blood was red. And then I was excited because I was like, oh, that means I'm going to lose weight because I felt so light.
Yes.
And then I woke up.
Yes. Well, you are remembering a compound experience. Being slightly shifted out of your physical reality and at the same time interacting with extra dimensional and extraterrestrial beings. You are part of the hybridization agenda, but you were compounding that by understand that you were being fed more light. That's the white liquid. It actually is light, but you interpreted it as an IV.
Yes, I interpret it as an IV with milky white liquid in it, and I felt so light, as a result of just,
Well, yes, of
looking
course.
at that.
Why wouldn't you feel light if you're being fed with light?
Noted. The next shifting into that is the sense of intuition. So again, my core beliefs has been that, that the spirit guides are always here to help and assist you.
Yes.
And I clearly recalled when I met my life partner that immediately I felt like the world shift. Like this is a remembering.
Yes.
And
The remembering of an agreement you made to help each other in this life in this way.
well, the interesting part about it is that I used to joke around like when I go to heaven, I want to know who thought this was a good idea because it seems so misaligned. Like there was no rationale for that coming up together. Yet I realized at every juncture of a crisis, that's when I delve deeper into the spiritual learning.
Yes, well, you thought it up. You thought it up.
I thought it up.
Yes, you thought it up. In other words, you presented yourself with opportunities, as you just said, to present yourself with challenges that would help you grow. So you thought it up. You made an agreement with other people to help you in that, just as you're helping them in what they thought up they would like to experience as the theme that they're exploring in physical reality. So that's how it works. The spirit thinks it up and then projects itself into an experience of physical reality to explore physically the idea of the theme and the patterns that you decided would be the challenges that would help you grow.
So I'm happy you mentioned the word patterns because that's one of the things that really resonate with me with the teachings that I've heard you in the past, that it's not a pattern when you do it over and over again. It's a conscious choice. Yet there's
Well, it's a choice.
doing
It's a choice whether it's conscious or unconscious. It's a choice.
it's a choice.
Yes. And you have to be aware of the fact that it's a choice in order for you to get out of the idea and the definition that it's a habit and a pattern that can't be broken. So you have to understand that it's important to take responsibility for the fact that on some level, it's a choice to respond in the way that you're responding to what may seem to be a pattern, because again, a lot of time they're there to give you a lesson so you can learn something, so you can change yourself in ways that you said you wish to.
Well, the interesting thing about it is that I've heard you say that when the similar experiences presents itself and you change how you respond, that's when you know that there is really growth.
Yes.
So while I'm patting myself on the back because I'm walking through a situation where I definitely changed my response, yet another, for lack of a better word, shoe drop. And I'm thinking to myself, like, is the universe trying to be funny with me now?
Maybe. It does have a sense of humor. But the idea is, again, if there is still some residual reaction of a negative sort to the next thing that happens, then you haven't actually learned the full lesson yet. Otherwise, you wouldn't be reacting to it in the way that you are. You wouldn't say, oh, another shoe has dropped. You would simply recognize, oh, here's another opportunity for me to learn something about myself. Because if you're still reacting the old way, you haven't really changed that much.
Okay, I received that. So,
All right.
to what extent does our spirit guides assist with the themes and the soul contracts that we have planned?
They give you guidance, and that's why they're called spirit guides. They don't do it for you, but they may help you, shall we say, encourage you to move in certain directions, to look at certain things that will give you the information and the experience that you need. So they will gently guide you. It may be a thought in your head that you think is your own, that's not. It may be synchronicity showing up, giving you information. That could be a message from the guides. You could overhear a conversation because you went down this side of the street today instead of the side you always go down, because the guide encouraged you to take a different path today because they knew you would overhear what it is you needed to hear. Many times guides work best when they use what's already in front of your face in physical reality, because then they don't have to try so hard to get you to pay attention to the message. You suddenly recognize that, oh, what a coincidence. That's something I was looking for. That's something I wanted to hear. That's some information I needed to know. You recognize it as such. And the urge to find yourself in the position of overhearing that or seeing something could have been the nudge from a guide, and that may have been all they needed to do to get you to receive the information you needed to receive. It's rare that you will actually hear words in your head, although sometimes that can happen from a guide. Again, they try to be unobtrusive because they're guiding you, not living your life for you or making decisions for you.
That is wonderfully helpful. And it's interesting because I recently named my guide because I've had this conversation, out loud for so long. I figured I might as well give a name.
Yes.
And I literally hear my guide saying, like, I'll make a decision and say, like, nope, that's not it. And then I'll just allow synchronicity to take its form.
All right. What did you name the guide?
Camara.
And what does that mean to you?
Camara means moon phases. I looked it up after I had the name and I said it makes sense because there's always a transition.
A new phase. There's always a new phase.
There's always a new phase.
Yes, remember the journey is the destination. The process is the point. You're not trying to reach a goal per se. You are attempting to reach a level of awareness and awakening. And therefore, the process and the experience you're having is the most important thing, not where you wind up so much. It's what you learn in the process.
It's the lesson I continue to learn. I thank you so much for this time and interaction. I much appreciate it.
It is our passion and our pleasure. Good day. Aveo.